Welcome to our part 6 of our series covering the complete Zohar, parsha by parsha, section by section. And we will be discussing today the Sod of section 6, entitled The Letters by Rav Hamnuna Saba. Without further ado, let's get into it. Bereshit, which we know refers to Atzilut and Chokhmah, Rav Hamnuna Saba. The word Saba is a word elder, as in Israel Saba, and corresponds to Chokhmah. Said that we have found in the words in the beginning, Elohim created. In the words Bereshit, Bara, that the order of the letters in this phrase is arranged in reverse. First, the Hebrew letter Beit is immediately followed by another Beit, that is Bereshit, Bara. Subsequently, it is written first with an Aleph and then another Aleph, referring in Hebrew to Elohim. And he explains that when the Holy One, blessed be He, was about to create the world, all the letters were still hidden. For 2,000 years before the creation of the world, the Holy One, blessed be He, watched the letters and amused himself with them. Here's the first word of Genesis, and we can see that the Beit is larger than all of the other words. Bereshit, Bara, Elohim. Now, in Kabbalistic understanding, the large letters are attributed in the rung of 1,000. Therefore, because this Beit is enlarged, it refers to 2,000. Thus, it states that the letters were played with for 2,000 years before creation, alluding to the large Beit. The next thing we notice is that it gives an allusion to Beit, and then Aleph, and is alluding that the letters entered in backwards. When he desired to create the world, all the letters came before him, in sequence from last to first. The letter Tav saw itself fit to come forth first. It said, Master of the world, may it please you to create the world with me, because I am the seal of your ring, which is Emet, truth. Meaning that I am the last letter in the word Emet, and as you are called by this name of truth, so it would be most appropriate for the king to begin with the letter Tav, and create the world by me. The Holy One, blessed be He, said to it, You are worthy and deserving, but you are not suitable for the world to be created by you. You are destined to serve as a mark on the foreheads of the faithful, who have kept the law of the Torah from Aleph to Tav. But when you appear, they shall die. Not only that, but you are the seal of the word Mavet, death. And because of this, you are not suitable for me to create the world with you. It then immediately left. The letters entered in from last and will be going up in this following manner. So Tav here alludes to Malchut, and it is the last part of Emet, for Emet refers to Zer and Pin, which are the 6 Sefirot Chesed, Gevur, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yisod. The Tav of Emet alludes to Malchut. And similarly, this is the mark in the foreheads of the faithful, meaning the oral Torah, because Malchut is called Hamnuna, faith. The letter Shin entered and stood before him. It said, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, as your own name, Shaddai, is with me. And it should be most proper to create the world by a holy name. He replies, You are worthy, you are good, and you are truthful. But because you are included among the letters that form the word Shekar, falsehood, meaning Shin, Kof, and Resh, I do not wish to create the world with you. Sheker would not have prevailed had you not been attached to the letters Resh and Kof. So we learned Tav was Malchut, Shin is Yisod. And this is the sod of why he states, El Shaddai is with me. Similarly, Kof and Resh form the words Shekar, and it is known that Sheker, or falsehood, has no feet. Feet here alluding to Netzach and Hod, as mentioned by the sages. From this, we learn that whoever wants to tell a lie should add that lie to a base that is truthful. Because the letter Shin is a letter, namely a sign of truth, meaning a letter of truth by which the patriarchs reached unison. Then it goes on to say, and the letters Kof and Resh appear on the evil side, because the other side is called kol, kar, which is kof and resh, without any of the warmth that gives life, referring to shin. The other side draws its sustenance from Malchut when she is a frozen ocean. In order for them to continue to exist, they pulled the letter shin to them, creating the combination kesher, which means strengthening and surviving. When the shin realized this, it left. Again, kof and resh are listed off together because they are the sod of netzach and hod, respectively. And similarly, they pull the patriarchs, referring to chesed, gevura, and tiferet, together with malchut. And this is the secret of keshar. The letter sadi. The letter sadi then entered, stood before him, and said, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, since the righteous, satikim, are signed by my name, and you who are called righteous, sadi, are also written by my name, as it is written, for Hashem is righteous. He loves righteousness, Techalim 11:7. Therefore, it would be suitable to create the world with me. He replies, Sadi, Sadi. You are truly righteous, but you should remain concealed and not be revealed too much, as would be done if the world were created by you, so that humans will not have an excuse for their sins. And what is the reason for it remaining concealed? It is because it used to be Nun, and the letter of the name, which is the Holy Covenant, came and mounted on the letter Nun, thereby creating the letter Sadi. The secret meaning of this matter is that when the Holy One, blessed be He, created Adam, who is the secret of Zorainpin, He created him with two faces, that is, a male and a female attached at the back. For that reason, the Yud's face was turned away from the Nun, the Yud facing one way, the Nun in another way, not turning face to face. The Yud faced upwards and the Nun faced downwards. The Holy One, blessed be He, said to it, I will sew you, that is, separate the attachment of back to back within you, and form you into a frontal union. But it will rise to be this way in another place. Not immediately with the creation of the world, it should be back to back, an indication that its illumination is hidden. Therefore, it is not suitable to create the world with it. The letter Sadi left his presence and went its way. Sadiq refers to Tiferet, which goes by the name Yud-He-Vav-He, which is the secret of Hashem is righteous, or Yud-He-Vav-He is Sadi, literally. It states that the letter Sadi is made out of the letter Yud, combined with the letter Nun. In this case, the Nun here refers to the male, and the Yud here refers to the female, and that they were back to back, mainly that the Nun faced the left direction and the Yud faced the right direction. The letter Pei and the letter Ayin. The letter Pei was the next to enter. It stood before him and said, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, because the redemption that you shall bring onto the world is described by me, pedut, which is redemption. This means that salvation is to be redeemed from our enemies, and this word in Hebrew starts with the letter Pei. This is why the world should be created with me. He replies to it, you are indeed praiseworthy, but a secret crime, pesha, is inscribed in you, like the snake that strikes and then brings its head to its body. Because whoever sins bends his head, meaning that he hides himself from the observing eye, then stretches his hands out to sin. This refers to the shape of the letter Pei that has a head bent down into its body. And so it was similarly said of the letter Ayin, which describes the term avan, iniquity. Although it claimed, I have humility, avana, in me, and the Holy One, blessed be He, replied to it, saying, I shall not create the world by you, Ayin, then took its leave. Ayin and Fei refer to Chesed and Gevura. Thus, it alludes that a person must lower his head, which refers to Kether Hokmah Bina, down into Chesed, Gevura, in order to sin. And it says when a person's head is lowered, meaning they do not have the upper, they're just the lower seven, and the sod of these 6 things do the Lord hate, yes, these 7 are an abomination. Similarly, Chesed and Gevura are the secret of sin. It's written, do not lean to the right or the left. And so it ascribes humility on the side of the right, but on the left, Avan, it ascribes iniquity. And both of these things are off of the path, so they take a leave. They're mentioned together in the Sarf Chesed and Gevura. The letter Samek. The letter Samek entered and stood before him and said, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, because I am able to support those who fall. As it is written, Hashem upholds, Somek, all that fall. He said to it, this is exactly why you should stay in your place and not move from it. If you leave your place in the world, Samek, what will happen to all those who fell and are being supported by you? The letter Samek then left immediately. The letter Samech refers to Da'at, that in which fills the house. And this is the side of why they say Hashem supports. Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh Samech. Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh referring to Zohar and Pin, which were what we just established. Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yisad, and Malchut. And supports those who are fallen, indeed. The letter Nun entered and stood before him, saying, Master of the world, may it please you to create the world with me, because of the phrase fearful in praises, Norah Techelot. Starts with me, and also in the praising of the righteous it is written in praise, Nava is calmly. He told it, Nun, go back to your place. It is because of you that the letter Samek returned to its place, and you should depend on it for support. It immediately left his presence and returned to its place. The letter Nun refers to Bina, and thus it is connected to Samak being Da'at. Similarly, it's written above the heads of the creature was a firmament terrible like ice, and the word terrible there is the word Nora. Nora, of course, referring to Bina, which is above the heads of the living creatures, and the living creatures, they all have the face of a lion to the right side, which is Chesed, the face of an ox to the left side, which is Gevura, and of course an eagle, which is Tiferet. And above their heads, of course, is a firmament like terrible ice, or there is Nora. The letter Mem entered and said to him, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world by me, because with me you are called Melech. He told it, yes, it is indeed so, but I shall not create the world with you, because the world needs a king. Go back to your place. You and the letters Lamed and Kaf, as it is not proper for the world to be made without a king. Mem refers to Hokmah, and Lamed refers to Keter. And of course, Kether means crown, and therefore they return to their place at the top, that there may be a king. Indeed. And of course a king wears a crown. It states, Mem, Lamed, and Kaf return to your place, because there is a direct link between Kaf and Lamed, as the 22 Hebrew letters are the 11 fronts and the 11 backs of the Sephirot. At that hour, the letter Kaf descended from his throne, Kiseh, of glory. Shaking and trembling, it stood before him and said, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, because I am your glory, Kevod. When the letter Kaf descended from the throne of his glory, 200,000 worlds were shaken, and the throne trembled, and all the worlds were about to collapse. And the Holy One, blessed be he, told it, Kaf, Kaf, what are you doing here? I shall indeed not create the world with you. Go back to your place, because the Hebrew word klaya, destruction, starts with you. And because of you, total destruction is determined and decreed. So return to your throne and stay there. At that same moment, it took leave and returned to its place. Because there's a direct link between Kaf and Lamed, and Kaf refers to Malchut, and had Malchut left its place here, or Kaf had left its place, it would have caused 200,000, referring to these two trees, to collapse. The grade of 100,000. And then similarly, there are two trees compiled of 10 Sephirot, and each of them have 10 parts. And you may say, well, there are 11 here, and yet the number is 200,000. But this is reconciled in the sod of the 11 coats of hair and the 10 finely twined, mainly meaning that there is an outer level and an inner level to the tree. The letter Yud entered, stood before him, and said, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, because I am the first letter of the holy name. Thus, it should be proper for you to create the world with me. He replied, It should suffice you to be engraved upon my name and appear in me. You embrace all my desires. Rise up. It would not be proper for you to be removed from my name. Yud is the secret of the Yesod on the front sides, and therefore he embraces all the desires indeed, mainly that the Shefa of the upper worlds congeal and meet at the point of Yesod, which is Yod. The letter Tet entered, stood before him, and said, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, as by me you are called good, Tov, and upright. He replied, I will not create the world with you, because your goodness is concealed within you. Therefore it is written, Oh, how abundant is your goodness, which you have concealed for them that fear you. So because your goodness is concealed within you, it cannot take any part in this world that I want to create. It only applies to the world to come. Furthermore, because your goodness is concealed and treasured within yourself, the gates of the temple shall be sunk. As it is written, her gates are sunk into the ground. And to add to all this, the letter Chet stands before you. Together you become sin, Chet. This is why these two letters do not appear in the names of the 12 tribes. Tet immediately then took its leave and went away from him. Tet being Hod, and the goodness is Netzach concealed inside of it. Furthermore, the combination of these two, Chet and Tet, which are Netzach and Hod, create the word sin. And similarly, as we learned with Kof and Resh, creating the word Sheker, it was stated falsehood has no feet, mainly its connection to Netzach and Hod. And similarly here, this is what the sin is. The letter Zain entered and said to him, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, because with my help, your children shall keep the Shabbat, as it is written, remember, Zachor, the Shabbat day, and keep it holy. He replied, I will not create the world by you, because you represent war. That is a sharp, pointed sword and a spear with which people make war. And they are called weapon, which in Hebrew is pronounced zain. And you are like the letter nun, which the world was not created by, because it is at the beginning of the word nephilah, meaning falling. It immediately left his presence. The letter Zain is Tifreth, the secret of Zerainpin, as it is written, Yod He Vav He is a man of war. And the war alludes to the letter Zain, which in Hebrew, the letter as a word, meaning the letter Zain spelt as a word, Zain Yud Nun, means a weapon. The letter Vav entered and pleaded before him, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, because I am in myself one of the letters of your name, Yod He Vav He. Replied Vav, you and the letter He should both be satisfied with being written in my name, because you appear in my name and are engraved in it. I shall therefore not create the world with you. Vav is the secret of Gavura, and He is the secret of Chesed, and they are certainly engraved in the aspects of Zerainpin. Zerainpin, which is Yud He Vav He, is Chesed, Gavura, Tifreth, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. Thus He and Vav are certainly engraved inside of the name indeed. The letters Dalet and Gimel entered. They both also claimed the same thing. He told them also, be satisfied with being with each other, because there will always be poor men on earth, and they should be given a benefactor. The letter Dalet is poor, because it is called Dalet, from poverty, Dalut, and the Gimel reciprocates as a benefactor, Gamalet, to Dalet. Therefore, do not leave each other, and it should suffice that you should sustain one another. Just as we learned that Nun should rest upon Samek for support, similarly here Dalet, which is the Da'at of the front side, and Gimel are also connected and support each other in the same likeness. The letter Beit entered and said to him, Master of the universe, may it please you to create the world with me, because by me you are blessed, Baruch. In the upper and lower worlds, this is because the letter Beit is the first letter of the word blessing. The Holy One, blessed be he, replied, but of course I shall certainly create the world with you, and you shall appear in the beginning of the creation of the world. Beit is the secret of the front side of Chokmah, and is certainly the beginning, and is the beit in the word Bereshit, which alludes to Chokmah, as it is written, Yairat Yorchevavhe Rashit Chokmah. The beginning is wisdom, and the letter Beit in Bereshit certainly signifies this. For this reason, the sages have stated, specifically in the Sefer Bach here, that the beginning was a blessing, Baruch, to allude to the upper three Sephirot. The letter Aleph stood outside and did not enter. The Holy One, blessed be he, said to it, Aleph, Aleph, why do you not enter and stand before me like the other letters? It replies, Master of the universe, because I saw that all the other letters left you without benefaction. So what shall I do there myself? Not only that, but you have already presented the letter Beit with this greatest gift of all, and it would not be proper for the supernal king to take back the gift which he presented to his servant and give it to another. The Holy One, blessed be he, said, Aleph, Aleph. Even though the world is created with the letter Beit, you shall be the first, literally head of all the letters. My attachment shall be expressed only by you, and all calculations and actions of the people shall commence with you. Therefore all unity shall be expressed by the letter Aleph. The Holy One, blessed be he, formed large upper letters, which allude to the Sephir of Bina, and small lower letters, which allude to the Sephir of Malkut. And this is why it is written Beit, Beit, which refers to Bereshit, Bara, and Aleph, Aleph, which refers to Elohim, Et. So the first set of Aleph and Beit letters are letters from above, from Bina, whereas the second set of Aleph and Beit are letters from below, which are Malkuth, and they are all united, the ones from the world above, from Bina, and the ones from the world below, which is Malkuth, so that they can influence each other. Thus Aleph is Kether, and comes to be on the outside, but all unity comes to include these things, as the word one, Echad, begins with Aleph. And similarly here, we also learn that there was a set of letters, mainly the 22 letters that are written enlarged, and similarly there are the 22 letters that are written small. As an example, we see the Beit in the word Bereshit, and the large letters here alluding to Bina. And here's a miniature Hey, which alludes to Malchut. Now let's learn a secret of these cipher here. The connection is that Malchut, Kaf, is connected to Lamed. The significance of this is that all of these Sephirot that are in the front will be located in this single Sephirot in the backside. Thus, there is a tree of the front and the Kether of the tree of the backside. This is our face and the Kether to the tree of our body. Mainly the two halves of our brain, our pineal gland, two eyes, our nose, our ears, and our mouth, and the Kether of our body, as shown. Similarly, this will later be the sod of, and he will bruise the heel, referring to Malkuth. He will bruise the head, referring to Keter Chokmah Bina, because of this connection here. With that being said, that concludes part 6. In our next episode, we will be discussing the wisdom upon which the world is established. If you'd like to support, I'll leave links to Patreon down below. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to add. Also, feel free to share these videos. They'll be inside of a playlist. And with that being said, Shalom, Selah.